The Johnny Depp and Amber Heard defamation trial is still ongoing, but it's now on break due to scheduling conflicts. But that hasn't stopped the chatter about what we've learned over the past few weeks about this bizarre Hollywood relationship. As you may know, the two actors and former couple are suing each other. Depp is alleging that Heard destroyed his career when she accused him of domestic violence, and Heard is countersuing over his claim that her allegations are a hoax. So the trial began on April 11th and is currently taking a 10-day break. But as of now, the trial really hasn't gone anywhere. If you've been able to watch it at all, you would know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, here's an example of what I mean. Watch.
It was fine.
Objection, hearsay.
I found out that he was in a hotel room with Paul Bettany.
Objection, hearsay.
Did you have with Lily Rose without saying anything she said?
Objection, hearsay. Objection, leading.
If we approach her and then your kid's in the car on the street, you
Objection,
need to move
hearsay. That calls for hearsay, Your Honor.
When he finished filming, the plan was to do
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay. Objection, form, compound.
And then you went in the house and saw Mr. Depp in the foyer, correct?
Yes, correct.
And Mr. Depp was trying to urinate in the foyer, wasn't he?
No.
Mr. Depp had his penis out of his
Objection.
pants, didn't he?
I think I would remember.
Relevance.
I'll allow. Next question.
And you were trying to get Mr. Depp out of the house, correct?
Join me now with a legal perspective is criminal defense attorney and anchor at Law and Crime Network, Bob Bianchi. Bob, thank you so much for joining me. Bob, I'm laughing. I can't hold it in. I mean, it's just pretty ridiculous, some of the things that we've been hearing during this trial. And this is a political talk show, and I hate to waste time on a Hollywood trial, but this trial is being talked about all over the world. This is a trial that's uniting everyone. My friends that are Democrats will message me clips from it. They're like, "Did you see this? And did you hear this?" I mean, it is interesting to see these Hollywood people just, tear themselves apart. What a waste of time. And I'm wondering, is there going to be a winner here? Are there any winners? I mean, these two people are destroying themselves.
Yeah, first of all, great promo going into this segment. It made me laugh. I've been covering this trial from beginning to beginning, and that's the first time I've laughed during any of it because it's really tedious what these lawyers are doing, Stephanie. And we know as trial lawyers, we don't want to upset the jury. These objections are ridiculous. They're not skilled trial lawyers in my mind. And I hate to say that. I know people get offended when I say it, but the objections are specious. The judge's sidebars, on and on. The jury gets what's being said here. To answer your question directly, yes, somebody does win, and they won when the case opened up with the words "ladies and gentlemen of the jury," and that is Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp won this case irrespective of what the verdict is. For 6 years, he's had a lot of very toxic things said about him. Now, I am not defending Johnny Depp, but I was reading those articles prior to my getting ready to prepare to host a show that deals with this gavel to gavel. And in it, it was horrible stuff written about Johnny Depp, and his voice was not heard. So he clearly lost his contracts. Pirates of the Caribbean, other movies all went away. He lost in the court of public opinion. And as I've said every time I'm on the show, Stephanie, when you look at one of these devices and you see the public relations aspect of what happened here, people now have a completely different take on this. This is not to say Amber Heard defamed him. The jury will make this decision. But in the end, it's very clear that Amber Heard wasn't a damsel in distress. There's videos coming out with her egging him on, her indicating to him that she didn't really deck him or really hit him hard. She just kind of hit him a little bit, making fun of him for always wanting to leave the room when there's an argument. So in the court of public opinion, in the court of the professionals that will have the fate of Johnny Depp at their fingertips as to whether they ever cast him again in a movie, Johnny Depp clearly leveled the playing field here with regard to the narrative that existed prior to this trial, and it was only the trial that gave him the opportunity to do so. So irrespective of win or not win at the end of the day, because defamation cases are very hard to prove, Johnny Depp has won, in my opinion.
I think you make a lot of great points there because originally people thought that Amber Heard was the damsel in distress, as you pointed out, and then we learned that she's just as crazy as Johnny Depp. in this trial, if not worse. And then, you know what really bothered me was the fact that she had all these videos and audio recordings. It's like she was wanting to set him up since the beginning. If I'm in a loving relationship, I'm not filming somebody hoping that I can hold this video on to use later against them. I mean, that person clearly doesn't love you. I mean, that's just my opinion. I just think it's really strange. If you see your partner recording you, probably run. Just get out of that relationship as fast as you can, right?
Yeah, Stephanie, you make such a good point. And the idea that she was doing these things, like, and then saying, look, Johnny passed out, and you see the guy lounging in a chair, like, I was like, is he sleeping? Is he passed out? Recording these conversations that she presumably thinks are favorable to her, where she's the one taunting him to be involved in these encounters. When you add that to the psychological testimony that was produced by the Depp team, who had done a multi-hour interview and independent psychiatric testing of a histrionic behavior disorder that Johnny Depp's lawyers, the psychologist, was very, very good, talking about how she wanted to be the center of attention, talking about how she was jealous of him, talking about the fact that she would do anything in order to maintain a connection with him, even if it's in a negative way. When she took the witness stand, many opine, and again, this is in the province of the jury, what they're going to do afterwards, that the very idea of how the psychologist said Amber Heard communicates and thinks about things is literally being seen by the jury as she testifies in what some may seem to be an over-dramatic way with very little detail. It's seemingly coached or rehearsed. Whether it's believable or not believable, the jury is going to make the ultimate determination. But again, Johnny Depp came off much different on that witness stand, much more informative, much more detail, and came off kind of as a person who grew up in an abusive relationship with his mother, which has been brought out in this case, and their mechanism of survival was to walk away, not to engage. And what's coming out in this trial is that, once again, at his claim, I'm involved in another abusive relationship with a woman, and my idea is to walk away and not get involved in it. And there's Amber Heard with a tape where she's basically coaxing him and calling him not a real man, essentially, for not engaging. This is not the activity of a person, in my opinion, who's under domestic abuse, and moreover threatens him. Go ahead, tell people about it. Who's going to believe a man over a woman with regard to domestic abuse? And as a little public service announcement, as a lawyer who's been doing this a long time and as a former prosecutor, I think a lot of people feel it's about time the scales were even a little bit with this idea that men cannot be victims of domestic and emotional abuse.
Yeah, well, they absolutely can, because I've heard a lot of stories. And, you know, we never really got to the bottom of whether or not she left a, quote, grumpy in the bed. That's what Johnny Depp was calling it in the trial. I mean, some pretty despicable things were discussed there, but we'll let the audience go Google that because I don't want to get into it. Really quickly, we're almost out of time, but I really wanted to get this story. It's a follow-up on the Mike Tyson plane incident. So apparently Mike Tyson is actually not going to face any criminal charges after punching a fan on the flight. We have the video of the incident, so let's take a look at that, and then we'll discuss it after roll tape.
Your boss, my boss. This is George talking to Mike Tyson, bro. This crazy, bro. Mike Tyson. JetBlue mid flight. My boy just got beat up by Mike Tyson. Turn that way. Yeah, he got f***ed up.
So, Bob, I'm totally against violence, but I have to say, if you play stupid games, you're probably going to get a stupid prize. And harassing Mike Tyson, not a good idea. I mean, the guy was asked, he was like cruising for a bruise, and he may have had a case, right? Because he got pretty messed up, but he started it.
Yeah, so like Stephanie, I'm so glad you're bringing this issue up. Is it a good civil case? Yeah, I guess you could argue that in a civil courtroom. But as a prosecutor and the police, look, putting hands on people is never a good thing. But there is an issue that you have to deal with when you look at the context of whether you're going to prosecute somebody. And that's why prosecutors are given a wide latitude of discretion as to what was the context of the assault, what led up to it. This guy is nonstop taunting him. He's being asked to stop on a number of occasions. He refuses to do it. He's up in Mike Tyson's face. There's an allegation he threw threw a water bottle at Mike Tyson. So as a prosecutor looking at it, while I don't condone it, I'm not pressing charges on a case like this because, like you said, the guy was putting himself, into this position. Now, I know there'll be people out there that are going to say there's never a justifiable reason to ever put your hands on another person. Respectfully, there are situations in which people push you to the point, verbally, emotionally, getting in your space where you react. And of course, prosecutors are going to take that into consideration that Tyson didn't start this. And by the way, if Tyson really wanted to end this, trust me, he wouldn't have been up there smiling, taking pictures of his injuries. It would have been ended. So he actually showed restraint, in my opinion. This is Mike Tyson, Stephanie.
I know.
He's going to knock this guy out with a shot.
Exactly. Again, I don't understand why somebody thinks it's okay to harass a celebrity like that in person. I get that they're excited. They want stuff for the Instagram, but totally inappropriate. And honestly, I'm glad that Mike Tyson didn't get charged because he didn't start it. He wasn't asking for it. And as you pointed out, there was other information that we learned that there was a water bottle potentially thrown, some bad words said too. So, Mike Tyson maybe thought that they were going to try something else on him. Well, Bob, we got to leave it here. We appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you. Coming up next, Elon.